tuned in to the #1 social media show
baby.
on the net with your host, Wado, WDGF TV.
Bueno. Ahí va, ahí va. La mejor música del mundo. The best of the best. The best of the best. Let me go. Let's go check all this technical stuff first, okay? People, you might want to share this one, okay? Because what we about to say right here, because a little while ago we started with Flex talking about b-boy breaking, b-boy dancing, and started with Flex over there all the way from Germany. It was like 2:00 in the morning. Pero this topic is hot, man. Our community wants to hear about this one. This is one of them topics that our Facebook community, doesn't get tired of hearing. They want more and more and more of this hip hop stuff, hip hop topic. The 4 elements of hip hop: DJing, graffiti, breakdancing. What's the 4th one?
Rapping.
MC. Yep. So let's make this one public. Hold on. Give me a second. Share this one, people.
Already on it, brother.
Okay, let me make this one public. Hold on. Let me go in here. Over there, all the way from Germany, it was like 2 of this. Wait. Give me a second. We'll start the program now. Give me a second. I'll make this shit public. Hold on.
So this is Miami History Part 2.
Yeah, Miami History Part 2. Okay, I got it here. Okay, so it's public now. All right, now it's public. Ahora sí. All the comments. Can you see the comments on your phones?
I'm not looking at it, bro. To tell the truth.
I got Rick over here. He's Rick Alfaras. He says, Chillski, my bro.
Hey, Ricky, what's going on?
Okay, bueno.
Unfortunately, I can't see no comments. I don't know.
No, I got it. So it is when people they comment, I'm gonna be able to just say it. Okay. So bueno.
All right, cool.
So a little while ago, I had the one and only Mr. Flex. He was in Germany. He's in Germany, and it's very late over there. So, but he got to tell me like we tackled like an hour of topic of breakdancing, b-boy breakdancing, and especially in the area of South Florida. So, and when you talk about hip hop and breaking in the area of South Florida, you can't say the history of that without mentioning this two that I got right here: the almighty Chillski and the one and only Speedy Legs. What's up? We want to hear it all, bro. This platform is so hungry for the information that you guys got. That only the 2 of you know exactly what happened. Hip hop and going down. Ricky, baja eso.
Dale.
Okay, let's go. Dispara.
So, well, actually, first things first, I want to thank you. Thanks, Speedy, for hooking me up with you, and thank you also for having this platform for us, because it's a very important topic, and the history of Miami hip hop has not been well documented. It's a history that, for those of us that was there from the beginning, it's sometimes even sad, because when we see those very, very, very few documentaries or reports that show, that even bother to talk about Miami, they start basically from point Luke Skywalker, aka Luther Campbell, and after. And those that have been here in Miami for a very long time, that were part of this hip hop history that we lived, know that our history goes way farther back before Luther Campbell came along, before the Miami Bay scene. You know what I'm saying? So, it is very important to get that point across. And the fact that there was a lot of pioneers in this city that, have either gotten forgotten before, or but have gotten forgotten by people, or have gotten conveniently forgotten by certain people. You know what I'm saying?
Chillski, let me ask you a question. The very first
Yes.
time you saw somebody doing this form of art form of dancing, the very first time.
The first time that I saw it, I was in New York City. Uh, First things first, I'm Cuban. I came in the Maria boat lift. Um, but after living here actually, we got transferred to Fort Chaffee, Arkansas, as soon as we landed in Key West. And then about a month later, my auntie claimed us. We lived out here in Miami Beach for a while, and then we moved to the Southwest area. But it wasn't until we took a trip to New York City to visit family up there that I caught a glimpse of what I would later know as b-boying or breaking. And that was possibly sometime in, I would say probably like 81, somewhere around that time.
81.
It was definitely before I heard Planet Rock. Um, I saw some kids doing it on the floor and stuff like that. I had no clue what it was. All I knew is that it looked like the kung fu movies that I was in love with. You know what I'm saying? I had seen, like all the movies. Obviously Bruce Lee's my biggest inspiration, but we used to watch a lot of the Shaolin movies and stuff like that when I was a kid, and they used to do like a move that we used to call the helicopter, and I saw the kids doing something similar to that. So that caught my eye, and then later on, somewhere in between like 81, beginnings of 82, I saw some kids in my elementary also trying to do these moves, and that was already here in Miami. Um, and next thing you know, Planet Rock invades the radio station, and I became who I am to this very day because of that song.
Chillski, let me ask you a question. So I keep on hearing the helicopter, like early beginning. The helicopter is like one of the very first moves in breakdancing.
I would definitely tend to think that it is. It was a form of what we call footwork, but instead of doing the little tapping with the feet, it was just like it looked like a swirl type thing. Like you went round and round and round. And it was a pretty prehistoric move, if you will. I mean, in comparison to how Breakin later got.
Right.
But I mean, Speedy would know much better than me as far as that's concerned.
Speedy, the same question, my friend.
Yeah.
Speedy, the helicopter, because I keep on hearing the helicopter associated with one of the very first moves in this art form.
Well, it was called the coffee grinder. So the coffee grinder is what they call the helicopter, and it was done with other various dances before it became part of breaking. But it is an early primitive way of doing footwork.
And let me ask you a question from the 70s and disco era. There's some, because I've seen some like movies and stuff like that where there's some work in there, some things that later on the hip hop, the break dance community adopted or just kept on doing.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I seen, as a matter of fact, I think that I might even seen Danny Terrio do a version of the helicopter before.
And the serpentine, they used to do that in the 70s.
Well, didn't know that.
Yeah.
No, that's you're talking about the snake move, right? When they do the snake
move
on the floor.
That snake on the floor.
Yeah, but that's not part of breaking. That's like
but it was also embraced by the later on.
Some people would incorporate it. Yeah, yeah, that's true.
So you was in New York City, bang, and then you saw this, and what was your feeling like? Because you must have been what? Because in '81 I was 11.
And yeah, I wasn't in New York. I was visiting New York. I was visiting New York. I was visiting family. One of our little trips that we took to visit family, and that's how I first got a glimpse of that. I also got a glimpse of the trains and all the tagging and all the graffiti burners that were being put on the trains. Also, so I got an early exposure of that New York culture per se that later came down to Miami.
And then what happened was you were visiting, then you came down to Miami again, and basically it was like something that you saw, but in a little while it would make its way down here
Yeah,
and become
yes, absolutely.
popular.
Absolutely, absolutely.
When did you get involved in the art of breaking?
I got involved in, I would say, 1982. The day that I heard Planet Rock, and when something about that song, when I heard that song, it just made me want to move. I didn't know what I was doing. Like, I'm Cubano, bro. But honestly, like I never, until like much later in life, I never was into like salsa and any Latin music. I was into strictly like American music, and but there was something specific about that particular song that made me just want to move. And then when I saw kids dancing to that song, then I just completely gravitated to that culture, you know? So, it just, I don't know. I saw kids doing the helicopter. I saw some kids trying to do like a little backspin and stuff like that. I saw some kids trying to do like the little robot. I had tried to do the robot before, um, because I had seen also whatchamacallit, Soul Train, and I had seen like little parts that, you know what I mean, like we saw miming and stuff like that. So the first time that I ever tried to even do the robot, I wasn't even connected to hip hop yet. I tried to do the robot to Anita Ward's "Ring My Bell," and it because it had that little boo laser sound,
Mm-hmm.
and it just made me feel like I was listening to some space music.
Yeah.
And then when I heard Planet Rock, it's like, to me, like the ultimate space music. You know what I mean? So I just had to get with that.
Let me ask you guys a question, because this thing happened to me. Have you ever seen, for example, Africa Bambaataa or any of them pioneers?
Yeah, all the
Of
time.
course, yeah, absolutely.
How do you feel whenever you're like in front of like Africa, like, yo, what's up, Africa? You know who you is, bro.
Well, Bam. First things first, he's like the most humblest dude in the planet. You know what I mean? Like you don't feel no sort of intimidation whatsoever because he's so down to earth. Me myself, I was a chapter leader of the Zulu Nation down here in Miami. So I met Bam several times. Also, I met Bam in New York City, and when he came down for Speedy's event called Pro Am. So I've been around Bam several times when he's been in concert out here, and years ago we did special security for him and everything, and he was like super down to earth. Also, Kool Herc, the actual godfather of hip hop, also another super cool and down to earth brother.
Rick, Speedy.
Yes, sir.
I call him Rick. The reason why I call him Rick is because Rick is my personal friend. So, but my personal friend Rick happens to be legendary breakdancer b-boy Speedy Legs. But he's my friend.
The Godfather.
You can't say the story of South Florida breakdancing without mentioning these names right here. Almighty Chillski, Speedy Leg, Flex. You know what I'm saying? So Speedy, what happens, bro? How's your relation with Bambaataa? Because I see Bambaataa, I'm like, yo, this guy doesn't even know. Like he's like it, man. I saw not too long ago in California. I saw Cosmo D and I had a conversation with him. I'm like, yo, Cosmo, bro, yo, you don't know, yo, you so special, man. You know that Cosmo D, wiki. You know what I'm saying? So every time I see one of them cats, I make sure that I tell him, yo, bro, you're like really important to me, man. So I haven't seen Bambara yet. I haven't seen him, but one of these days I'll see him, and I make sure I tell him and thank him for the music. Say your
You didn't let me answer your question.
no, dale, ahora tú.
My relationship with Bambata was good, man. I was honored to be part of several of the events that we used to organize in New York, that we helped him with. He also was an official sponsor of my event that I did, for the past 25 years. He actually signed a check that I still have to this day. I still have the actual check with his name, his signature on it. So, Bam was great. Bam was always a supporter of what we did and the advancement of the culture in any way that we could share it with others. And it was a great experience working with him. Real great experience.
Yeah. All right. So here's a big question right here. Okay, what year was it that you two guys met and started collaborating together?
Well, I met Willie. I didn't actually meet him yet, but I kind of ran into Willie when he was younger, when he was about your age, Bernie, like real young.
Yeah,
We used to go.
the first time I saw you, I was like 11. I was 11 years old.
Yeah. Chili was around that age, around that time. We used to go to some of the park jams that they did down in in the Little Havana area, and we used to go with we used to
Grapeland
go.
Park.
Yeah, in Grapeland Park. There was DJ Nice and Nasty, and Nice and Nasty used to play at these park jams, and me and Flex would go break. Like me and Flex would go down there with his brother Henry and my crew, and we would do like little exhibitions. And I remember seeing Willie with a little group of guys at the time. I would never imagine that he would continue later on, and I would run into him again later on in my life, which was in the early '90s, around '92, when I ran into Willie again, and Willie was part of the Miami Zulu Nation chapter, and we used to do a lot of hip hop parties together, a lot of community stuff, and that's where the event that I did, the Pro Am, was born from that. But yeah, me and Willie got some history, man. He could Willie could really drop some science on you.
Chillski, do you remember battling this guy in the early 80s?
No, I absolutely not. I never battled Speedy because first things first. Even though I did start as a b-boy at very first, I mainly concentrated in my popping. So I was mainly a popper and an up rocker. But we used to look up to Speedy back in the day, man. Like there's a somewhat of a phenomena like for people from our generation, like we had a beautiful thing called respect our elders.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? And even though Speedy wasn't that much older than I was, he still was older. You know what I mean? Like back then, and you know this, Bernardo. You know, you're from the same era.
Yep.
If you was a 12, 13-year-old kid, next to a 16-year-old kid, that meant it was almost like a 20-year disparity. You know what I'm saying? And the 16, 17, and even much less the 18-year-olds didn't want to hang out with those little dudes. You know what I'm saying? The little dudes had to be down by law because of maybe an older brother or a cousin or some sort of affiliation that would allow an older guy to hang out with a little kid. You know what I'm saying? So, we looked at guys like Speedy, like my man Reversal, who's my idol, from the Street Masters, like my other brother, my other idol, E.T. Pop from the Miami City Breakers, who was also my idol, and another one of my elders. Even though we were super competitive, we were competitive with those of our age range. We didn't want to compete against these older guys who we already were looking at them as like the big shots, the you know what I mean, like our icons. You know what I'm saying? So we had mad respect for those guys, and Speedy was obviously one of them. You know what I'm saying?
Could could you guys drop a few names of the most important crews over here in South Florida, breakdancing?
Well, I mean, Speedy's crew, TDK, the Devastating
Okay.
Kids, the original Street Masters, started by Kid Freeze, the Miami City Breakers, FBI crew,
FBI crew. That
uh,
that later they became Nice and Wild.
Nice and Wild,
Nice
yes.
and Wild.
You had my boys from Little Havana, BBC, also known as Breakers Beyond Control. Who else? Who else?
You had
You had a
Nation's Baddest Creation from Cal
Nation's
City.
Baddest Creation, yes, absolutely. Ooh, you had a crew from Little Havana called Too Fresh. You had Fresh Rockets,
You had CBO from Hialeah.
CBO, yep. Um, TMC from Hollywood.
Yep.
You know, Ozrox and Juice's crew. Um, Supreme Masters. I mean,
Homeboys Only.
Homeboys Only, absolutely. HBO. You know, I mean, those are definitely some of the crews that stand out right now.
So
Soul Sonic, the Fresh Masters.
Fresh Masters. Little Willie.
Yep, Little Willie, badass.
Why was Little Willie so good in breakdancing?
Little Willie was a dude. I believe that he was from the Westchester area, and I don't know
from Westchester, Sweetwater, around there.
Yeah, I don't know too much of his history because I was never his personal friend, but I do know that this dude was super fresh, and from what I gather from some of his friends, he was a dude that had a direct link to New York City also. So he was going to New York and learning stuff from over there, and then coming down here and doing it.
And okay, so that was group. But say, for example, if we a few legendary names. Let's talk about names. Like for example, Little Willie. He made an impact in our community. And when it comes to mentioning names in breaking South Florida, Little Willie, that's one of them names.
Okay.
Obviously, we got Chillski right here, and then we got the one and only Speedy Legs. Also, I interviewed a little while ago Mr. Flex. Mr. Flex, the very first one that I saw breakdancing over here in South Florida was Mr. Flex.
Yep. You had a bunch of guys.
I mean, from just from the people that I know, like my personal peoples, like you got Crazy Ricky, also known as Little Ricky from Miami City Breakers. You had that dude was phenomenal. Like he did windmills that you couldn't hardly even see them. This dude, and Speedy will attest to this, this dude will pull out a freaking bag of Frito-Lays and eat those freaking potato chips as he was doing windmills. You know what I'm saying? So that's Little Ricky right there. You had whatchamacallit, you have Mikey C from Breakers Beyond Control, who was another dude that was incredibly fast in his windmills, and he had like crazy corkscrews, headspins, incredibly fast. My boy Chubby, who had crazy dope ass. We used to call them scorpions, but they call them crabs or floats or whatever. Who else, Speedy?
You had Flash. Paco, James Rock, Carlos Quiroga.
Give me a moment over here so I can, because some people are commenting and they don't know exactly what we're talking about over here. Today, right here, we're talking about the breaking b-boy dance. We're having a breaking b-boy dance talk with Speedy Legs and the almighty Chillski from South Florida. We're talking about breaking in South Florida. Not in New York City. This is the history of what happened over here in our community, in our beautiful South Florida. Yep. And right here, I got two of them, two legends. I interview another legend a little while ago, Mr. Flex. And now right here we got Almighty Chillski and Speedy Legs. And we're
Listen,
just
well,
dropping names.
some of these people, some of these people here that are commenting, they they don't know who we are because they didn't get down when we got
From New
down.
York. They're from New York.
They just didn't. They weren't getting down in the areas we were getting down
No.
and
They're
doing
from
the
New York.
things that we were
A lot of
doing
these people over here are from New York, bro.
and that's just the reality of it. I mean, they don't gotta know who we are, but they're gonna know who we are
Of course.
and what we do and what we
This is
represent.
only the beginning. This is it. This is the famous globalization. This is when the whole entire world they start knowing the history,
Listen,
the
the
history
same,
of
Bernie,
things that happen in our area. Dímelo.
Bernie, not to interrupt you, but the same way some of these people don't know who we are, they don't know that Breakin is still around. They don't know that Breakin is 10 times bigger than it was in the 80s.
Yes, sir.
And it's more athletic. It's more athletic. The dancers are beyond like what anybody has ever seen. Yeah, we give credit to the Bronx and New York City, where hip hop was born, but Miami took it to another level, and it's
let me
all over,
stop you
and it's all
there.
over the world. Listen,
Speedy,
hip hop. Listen to me. Hip hop is bigger than New York, man. It's all over the world, bro.
Speedy, let me stop you
Yeah.
there. Let me ask my two guests today one question. Okay, so the contagious virus of was born in the Bronx, somewhere in the Bronx. Flex said South Bronx somewhere. Okay, so
That's true.
when you arrived to
In the South
Miami,
Bronx. That's true.
so the contagious, beautiful dance virus was over here. And when it arrived here, did you guys did it mutate over here? Can you see a difference between New York breaking and South Florida breaking? Did it mutate and become something else?
Yes, it did. New York City had that Bronx style, and there were other suburbs. There was the Bronx, there was Queens, there was Manhattan, Brooklyn. So each of those boroughs brought their own unique flavor into the dance. When it came to Miami, in Miami, a lot of the dancers were more athletic. They were more like on another level, man. And I'm telling you this because I was one of them. So we admired the New York flavor and the originality because that's where I learned it from Flex. But I wanted to go beyond what was being done. So with that being said, it became very competitive down here where myself and other guys that I competed against were very athletic. So every time we ran into each other, this guy had this move and he had it faster than I did. So then I had to come out with something that was better than that. And it just kept elevating and elevating and elevating. And then by the time it disappeared in New York City, like I told you in the last interview that we had, that the freestyle music scene started coming in, and it's not only the freestyle scene, but people were selling. Some of the guys that I knew that were really good were either selling drugs or doing drugs, and nobody was really trying to mess with Breakin anymore. They just kind of left it behind, and everybody was moving on to the next thing. And that's the reality. And Chili,
So let me ask
Chili can tell you that.
Chill, is there a difference? Can you see a difference?
I'm sorry.
Is there a difference between New York breakdancing style and South Florida breakdancing style?
I mean, me personally, what I could say, and I don't know if I'm saying it the right way per se because I haven't been everywhere, so I cannot speak on a global level per se.
Mm-hmm.
But what I would say is that down here we were super aggressive. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to curse. but
You can
my,
curse. Over here in this platform, you can curse.
yeah, Miami has that I don't give a fuck attitude.
Right.
And we brought that attitude to the dance floor back then. You know what I'm saying? And I'm pretty sure that New York had people like that. I'm totally sure that New York had heads like that. But you know, definitely that was one thing with us that like we was like super competitive, and you had those that were a little bit older, a little bit wise, a little bit more level headed. But the kids from my age range, you had a lot of hard rocks, a lot of true hard rocks, and we had also our peoples that used to come behind us that weren't dancers, that they were just like straight up stick up kids. So, you know what I'm saying? If you go to a freaking neighborhood that ain't your neighborhood, you know what I'm saying? Uh your life could be in danger. You could be in danger of getting robbed or getting beat down. So, um I can't. I mean, I'm pretty sure that went down in New York. Also, I mean, there was a time that a difference of a few blocks made all the difference in the world. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, but you know, I know one thing for sure. From 80, from the beginning of like 82 to like 83, maybe even 84. We were still on that, you know, learning. You know what I mean? Like there was a lot of dudes that were good already by that time, but there was, a lot of us didn't get taught. You know what I'm saying? We started learning from what we saw on either a movie or on TV, or from what we saw a guy doing it down the street. So we didn't have a lot of us didn't have mentors. But by the time that late 84 and 85 came, Miami had some badass freaking b-boys that could wreck shop with anybody. You know what I'm
Let
saying?
me
And
ask you. Let me ask you a question. There. Okay. Any recollection of like an official battle between South Florida crew and New York crew in that particular time? Any? Because none of this stuff was probably filmed. I'm pretty sure
well,
that
on,
most
on,
of the greatest battle that you guys saw and witnessed with your own eyes and participated, they were not filmed.
well,
Unfortunately.
I will tell you this much. And one of my best friends in the whole wide world could answer this question, and hopefully we could get him on this show also in the near future. But Reversal from the Street Masters. The Street Masters went to Chicago and had a huge battle against the Chicago's crews up there, and I believe I don't know if it got televised. It probably got filmed, but also those guys went to New York and they battled in the clubs up there. I know one thing also, that some of the guys that was out here from New York City, um at one time they were like the shit. You know what I'm saying? Like they were looked at as the icons. But as time progressed, some of the up and comers came and they challenged those guys for that crown. And I know of certain cases that those crowns got taken. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna brag or boast. Speedy knows those stories better than I do. You know what I'm saying?
Speedy, Speedy, when it comes to this, Speedy's an encyclopedia. He knows it all. He knows.
Absolutely.
Yo, Speedy, Ruben says you can say anything you like on Bernie's show. Baba. Yeah, I think over here the platform you can say all kinds of things. We good here.
Oh man. Listen, man. Okay, so the question is what? Miami B-boys against New York
Okay,
B-boys?
so the majority of this amazing historic competition, they were not filmed, bro. There's no recollection of
No,
it. Really.
historic competitions were and you're right. They were never filmed. I mean,
I bet that if we had iPhone, if we had smartphones back in them days, I bet YouTube would have been.
There were many challenges I had myself going to clubs where I battled dudes from New York, Chicago, wherever they were from. I didn't know where they were from till they would tell me. There was never this thing like I'm New York and you're Miami and we're gonna battle. It wasn't like that. It was I'd go out, I would break, I'd be doing my thing, and then some dude would come out of nowhere and jump in the circle, and I didn't know where he was from. All I know is that he was competition to me, and if he was really good, then I had to come out with all the stuff that I had to show him I was better. And it would go like that, back and forth, back and forth. Sometimes it'd be 5, sometimes 10 rounds, and then the guy would give up, or the guy would become cool with you and stuff like that. You become friends. And especially if you did it in nightclubs. If you did it in nightclubs, then you would meet up in the same nightclub every weekend and just do it again, and do it for fun, and socialize and stuff like that. It was never something that Baxman says he needs to be out here asking questions.
No. Backspin, no, muchacho. Backspin will take the mic, man. He won't let us talk. That's Henry, bro. Henry is my boy, bro. Henry's my boy. He part of this platform.
No. Yeah. Baxman's cool.
Yeah, he my boy.
So, I mean, listen, the time period that you're talking about we're talking about the mid '80s still, So we talked a little bit about the early '80s, and now we're in the mid '80s in Miami, where freestyle music and rap music has totally changed. It's like freestyle music became the new thing, where you wanted to go and impress the girls, and do the latest dances, and I mean, there are a lot of fans that were part of.
Okay, so here's the question: did you guys embrace freestyle music? Did you change your format in music?
I liked all kind of music.
I love freestyle.
Yeah.
I love freestyle. I love freestyle, and what they consider. The funny thing is, in what context are you talking about freestyle? Because I remember vividly in 1980, between like 83 and 84 and 85, when Shannon came out with Let the Music Play.
Yes, sir.
When C-Bank was out with One More Shot, and also Jenny Burton with Remember What You Like. Songs like that weren't yet called freestyle. They got packaged later on under that name. But at that time, we didn't even know what to call them. We knew that they were hip hop per se, because they had that funky beat that we were still rocking to, but they were singing. So we did not know how to call them. We called them either club jams or bebop music or stuff like that. Play at your own risk. For a perfect example, to me, my theory is that Play at Your Own Risk is the original freestyle song. You know what I'm saying? By Planet Patrol.
Right.
And at that time they called it breaking music. You know what I'm saying? It now is labeled electro funk. But back then, you know what I'm saying, I don't really remember hearing that terminology back then. I remember it being called bebop music, breaking music, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But once Niobe came into the picture per se, once Expose came into the picture, I mean, like me personally, I totally loved that music because it still was funky. You know what I'm saying? It still was funky. I wasn't trying to boogie. I wasn't trying to pop to it, but it gave me a chance to take a little break. You know what I mean? Like from sweating and trying to battle, and now it will give me an opportunity to dance with the ladies. You know what I'm saying?
So basically, battle music was battle music, and then freestyle was something else. Like for the mood, I'm talking about the mood. Like if, for example, we're gonna battle, that will be another kind of music.
Well, to me personally, yes. Like there was dudes that were dancing to anything. You know what I'm saying? But if you was a true b-boy, the records that you're trying to battle to. You know what I'm saying? And like for us out here, like for example, a song like Hashim's "I'm the Fish," like that was a straight up battle record right there. You know what I'm saying? You hear whatchamacallit, electric boogie breakdance, which is basically a whole loop of Apache, right? So you know that you're gonna rock to that. You hear Planet Rock, you hear, Egyptian Lover, Egypt, you know what I mean? Like, you know that those records you was gonna get down to. But now when you hear, like, say, Sequel, It's Not Too Late, that's a song that I like to dance with females, even though those of us that knew how to up rock would rock to those types of jams too. You know what I'm saying? So there was certain freestyle songs that you could still get down heavy duty to without having to, like, break per se.
Right. So in the comments here, we got Zulu King Freeze is in the house. I don't know if you can read that, Speedy.
I can't read. I
Speedy.
can't read the comments. I can't read no comments.
Zulu King Freeze is in the house. Peace, King, much respect. Peace, love, light, health, prosperity, and eternal blessings to you all from Almighty Gestapo, Chaka, Zulu King Freeze in the house.
Okay. Yeah.
Now that you were talking, I remember one that was really good was the Trenier song.
Oh yeah,
That Trenier song.
see, Trenier, like, a lot of people don't even know this, but Trenier goes as far back as 1984. There's an original version of "I Know You Love Me" that, everybody knows the version that everybody plays. The "I Know You Love Me" that everybody plays. That is got the traditional electro funk, pretty Tony type beat,
Right.
But there was a version that came out in 1984 by Trenier,
Right.
that, only those that were there remember that real good. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody really even plays that version.
Speedy, let me ask you, bro, the same question. How did you feel with like battle music is battle music, and then we had freestyle. How does that work in the mind of a breakdancer, bro? How did you handle this particular issue?
I was always into percussion. So ever since I was a little boy, I always told my mom I want to learn how to play the drums, and my mom was like, "No, no, 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 that's too noisy. You're not gonna play that in the house." But because my mother was a piano teacher. My mom was a master at playing piano, so uh, she got me into the accordion. So the accordion, believe it or not, was the first instrument I learned how to play. I had this big accordion, and I'm trying to learn the notes. Understand? I remember my mom sitting down with me with a ruler, and she would hit me on my fingers when I wouldn't play it right. But that was the first instrument that I came in contact with. Percussion was really what I always wanted to learn. I admire some of my friends that played it well, and I got into playing the instrument later on when I was able to live on my own and stuff like that, and get me a drum kit and conga sets and stuff like that. But to me, I was always into the heavy percussion of the record. So a lot of freestyle records, if you notice, they all have heavy percussion. Now it's electronic, it's not live, but it has a lot of percussion in it. So with these songs, you always looked. Let me see. There was one of my favorite TKA songs was "Come Get My Love." Remember that song? Come get my love, and then
Yep.
and I would love that part. Dun, 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 and it was just the percussion, man. The assembly of the music, the way it was put together, was amazing. So I was always into that. Freestyle music to me got a little lame later on when they kept sampling Planet Rock. Almost every record that you would hear from some kind of freestyle artist had
you one
Planet
of those?
Rock.
You one of those? You one of those, bro? Man, we in our community of freestyle, we constantly talking about this. Speedy Leg.
But Bernie, look,
People,
Look,
Speedy Leg.
listen,
is one
listen
of-
to me, listen.
But let Bernie talk, Speedy.
But I am, but Bernie, look, I'm not trying to offend anybody that uses that loop, but come on, people, there's more originality to music than just copying the same loop over and over again.
Try telling that to one of our most important producers from freestyle nowadays. He lives in Germany. His name is Tanasi Kalidas.
Okay,
This
I'll
kid,
tell him.
man.
I'll tell him stop using Planet Rock in your records.
Well,
I'll tell him.
okay, it's a battle. It's war. It's freestyle war. We're going to freestyle
Hey,
war.
listen, man.
I would agree.
Chillski.
I would definitely agree with Speedy on that one. They oversaturated the sound, and there was so much other sounds to freestyle other than that Planet Rock beat. I mean, like for example, if you listen to anything by the Latin Rascals,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like those dudes, their sounds was phenomenal, and of course, TKA being produced also by them and Andy Panda and Joey Gardner. I mean, come on, those sounds were incredible. But then you listen to like an underground song like Jasmine's On the Loose, you know, and stuff like that, and Monet, Give In to Me, and stuff like that. You know, there was so much more to the freestyle sound, and that, you know, it's kind of sad that they kind of like oversaturated it with one particular, you know, sound, and overlooked all that other great stuff that was coming out, you know?
Let me ask you a question here that I just thought about. Okay, so was you guys feeling our South Florida sound when we got involved into the sound? Like for example, we had the Gucci Crew 2 and a bunch of people that came out of South Florida. Were you feeling it as a break dancer? Was you feeling that to dance?
Well,
yeah, that wasn't to dance to, man. That was not something to dance to.
Well,
I'm asking you guys as b-boys, did you mess with that
Not me.
sound?
Not me.
Not you.
No, because that sound came out after.
Yeah.
That sound came out after. When you're talking about Gucci Crew 2 and stuff like that, that's 87. Already,
Yeah.
B-Boy had died already out here.
No, but you guys,
you know, you had guys like Speedy still rocking.
Exactly. So as a breaker, like for example, that kind of music. When I say Gucci Crew, I say the 2 Live Crew, like all that music that was done over here in South Florida.
Me personally, I'll tell you what I liked from South Florida at that time. At the time when I was a B-boy, the Pretty Tony sound. Amos Larkins.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Those dudes. Those are the original godfathers of the Miami sound when it comes down to that.
Fix it in the mix. Fix it in the mix.
Fix it in the mix. You know what I'm saying? The group Freestyle, now known as Freestyle Evolution. You know what I'm saying? That were also Pretty Tony produced. You know, like Pretty Tony to me is the godfather of that Miami sound. You know what I'm saying? Like without him, there wouldn't be no Luther Campbell. You know, straight up. But that's what we was dancing in around that time. You know what I mean? I forget this guy's name. German something. Speedy. Remember Cowboy and Sexy Lady? Beefbox. Remember that song? That was in 1984 on Foresight Records. That's another great record from Miami. You know, you had some good stuff coming out of Miami in the early or mid 80s type stuff, but then when it comes down to the Miami bass sound, we weren't breaking by that time. We pretty much were doing other stuff. 86 was a very 86 was a year that changed a lot of stuff.
Everything.
Not only did break,
everything did a 360. Everything.
Yeah. Not only did breaking kind of like died, whatever, but all those hard rock kids that were using their energy to put it into the dancing, now all of a sudden they became gangsters. You know what I'm saying? Now you talking about the gangster era of Miami, the beginnings of it. I mean, there was gangs before that, but now the scene is getting real big with the whole gang situation down here in Miami.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember when we used to chill over there at the beach in the Memorial Weekend.
Oh yeah.
Remember that? That's like
Oh yeah.
that's when the first time. That's when I really realized that everything has changed, and it was exactly the summer of '86. I think it was '86 when you know when they were when the song by the Two Live Crew, the Throw the D.
Throw
Dore, 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 dore,
the
dore,
D. Yeah, but throw the D. Listen. Throw the D
dore, dore, dore.
had that. Listen, it had dance to the drummer's beat in it. The beat, the loop. Let's dance. Let's dance to the drummer's beat. It had that loop in their song, and that was a famous record we used to break to,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
was
Yeah, Speedy,
Herman Kelly.
yeah, but you're kind of like confusing it because remember that we're talking about the difference between that type of music and what we used to dance when breaking. By the
Right,
time
right, right,
that song Throw the D came out, yeah, we weren't breaking no more.
No, exactly.
right.
No.
Most of the people weren't breaking. This was about '86. They
Yeah.
weren't breaking.
That's but yeah. So okay, so yeah, let's get the like the story, the whole entire thing because we're jumping from different eras. So breaking
No,
was it?
we're in the timeline. We're from like '85. We're talking now from '85 to '87. That's where we're at right now. '85
Okay,
to
let's
'87.
talk about Hollywood saturating the whole breaking, and then breaking went silent there for a moment.
Well, no,
A
then
lot of
you have to go to 1984 when they came out with the movie Breakin'.
breaking. What? So what did you think Hollywood did?
Listen, I wasn't into wearing pink and yellow bandanas. I'll tell you that much. I wasn't into that, bro.
Hollywood, bro?
Okay.
Well,
Hollywood.
Listen,
the
pink
thing
and
with
yellow,
Hollywood,
pink and yellow bandanas. That's not part of our culture, man. I hate to tell you.
I love.
the, the the thing about Hollywood is that Hollywood, you know, they always twist and throw all these artificial flavors into the sauce and you know and make it into
Fun, man.
some funny type of stuff. um I would say this much though, for as much as us quote unquote real b-boys complain, we also should thank Hollywood too, though. You know what I'm saying? Because this thing that we do grew because of movies
Yes, sir.
like Breaking and like B Street. Like
I agree.
I know a lot of b-boys from back in the day that right now in 2020 would be like, yo, B Street is whack and this and that. Yo, to me, B Street is the dopest out of all the hip hop movies. You know what I'm saying? And many will argue and say, nah, Wild Style's the shit. Why? Because Wild Style had all the official original dudes in there. But yeah, and that's fucking fantastic. But if you look at Wild Style as far as a movie with a plot, it sucks. The acting is horrible. You know, everything is horrible about it, except that it has all those great b-boys, all those great MCs, all those great graffiti writers. Everybody in that movie was real. You know what I'm saying? But then you cannot compare it to B Street as far as the quality, though. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, B Street had certain things that would make you cringe, but B Street is a super important movie. Just like uh, I don't think that there's a more important scene in hip hop, more important than that battle at the Roxy with New York City Breakers and Rocksteady Crew. Everybody, even though we were battling before that, because Speedy, myself, and quite a few others predate that movie. But when the world got to see that battle, everybody started trying to battle like that scene right
On
there
a global scale now.
on a global scale. So we cannot be so selfish and say, yo, like F Hollywood completely. No, Hollywood, even though it did, you know, make a lot of cringy shit and it did take advantage of a lot of dances and what have you, we also gotta be thankful because they still paid attention to us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
I,
saying?
I feel that Hollywood over here, nation in our in this nation is slammed the movement, but little did I know, and you know, because I remember talking to Speedy, you know, and I'm like, yo, I think this thing was a face. He said, nah, bro, this thing is not a face. I'm talking about, I saw Speedy,
Well,
in the 80s, 80, 84, 85, who knows, 86. He's like, this thing ain't a face. This thing ain't going anywhere. You watch. And you watch
Bernie,
what's going to happen.
Bernie, look, we were living something that was everyday life, and life is dictated by what's around you, and sometimes the people that influence you or the things that influence you. When Hollywood took our culture and they were trying to make a musical out of it, and at the same time, I get it. I understand uh, the frustration, the hard work that goes behind a production and trying to sell something to the audience that you want to present it
Yep.
as suitable as possible. But when it gets corny, that they cut around the corners to make something that they think is going to be glamorous, it kind of dissatisfies some of the people that live it. See what I mean?
Yep.
So
Can I say something though?
Say it, Chillski.
I think that this happens all pretty much with every culture. You know what I'm saying? Um, I think that the same thing happened to disco. You know what I'm saying? Disco was an amazing an amazing dance culture with amazing music, and then at some point they started oversaturating the market and making songs like Disco Duck and stuff like that, and it kind of like left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. It
Yep.
also happened in rock and roll music, heavy metal, for example. I'm a big heavy. I'm this hip hop dude, but I'm a heavy metal head too. You know what I'm saying? And like for example, like when you look at groups like Led Zeppelin, you know what I'm saying, or from my era, Iron Maiden and Black Sabbath and stuff like that. Guys that were into like real heavy metal would look at groups like, for example, like Poison. You know what I'm saying? And those hair bands that came out in the mid to late 80s. And the rockers would look at them like, what the heck is this? All these funny dudes with their little pink spandex, like looking like women, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I think that everybody has gone through those phases, you know what I'm saying? I don't think that it's strictly a hip hop thing that they violated us complete also. It's just whenever there's money to be made, you know, those with the power put
So
their hands in it. And
the message here for sure is that a good thing. Let's keep it underground. We keep it underground, and it's always gonna be amazing because
yes,
like you said about disco, it was underground. It was good. The moment Hollywood got a glimpse of that, it destroyed it. You know what I'm
yep,
saying? Like we the whole breaking, we was all in love with breaking and all that. The moment they started doing electric boogaloo and breaking two and all them crazy music with crazy movies, it just they slammed it, bro. They slammed it.
yeah. I mean, you have a movie like Rapping, which to me, that one and Jaws 3 are like possibly the three worst movies ever
Yeah,
made by man. You had commercials with Flintstone,
yeah.
with the Fruity Pebbles, doing headspins. You got the Ronnie rap. You know what I'm saying? You had all this corny stuff that kind of like
Let me
left a
say,
bad taste.
say this before I forget it. So let's keep it underground. And when I say keep it underground, I don't know if you guys know, but you guys are it. We are. This is I'm a big a member of a freestyle community, of a Facebook community called the Freestyle Community, and we are
Awesome,
underground. We are
man,
underground.
Bernie, how
awesome,
how
baby,
deep
awesome.
how deep underground are we already? I think we
Very
dug, we
underground.
dug we
You know,
dug the hole deeper than what it
no,
is.
we're in the the really underground, but I like it like that. Sometimes you're thinking, and I don't know if you guys know and follow our community that the fight here is to go and make it in mainstream. And sometimes I wonder about that because of this that we're talking about now. I'm like, nah,
Right.
man, you know what? Let's keep it underground. Let's make this thing La Cosa Nostra forever because
Yeah.
it's beautiful. It's ours because once it's no longer in our hands, and Hollywood and these people, once if they see money here, man, they'll destroy something that for us is so special and so beautiful.
Yep.
as we have it right now.
Yeah, you just have to have integrity, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, the money will always be an important part of life because we need money to survive,
Yes, sir.
but you still have to keep your integrity. And you know what I'm saying? If you feel that something is not right, then it ain't right. You know what I mean? Like, you just gotta be solid and stand on firm ground, you know?
Okay, so the sad news was that it went silent for a moment. Okay, so I spoke to Rick about this one. When did we start receiving good news again about breaking? Right
About
after,
breaking.
yeah, there was a depressed moment there from after all this electric boogaloo and oversaturated Hollywood stuff, and it went silent. I remember talking to Rick, and I
Right.
said, Rick, maybe that was a phase. He said, No, this ain't no phase. Just hold on, you'll see. The best is yet to come. I'm like, no, I don't know about that, and he was right.
Yep.
When the good news, them good news back again, like yo, breaking is huge in Germany. Los
Well,
finos están bailando
well,
breaking like
in Miami,
Miami.
uh, experience per se. I don't know what way to say it. The good news came when Speedy Legs connected with the Zulus from Miami. That's when the good news started because when we bonded together, see, we reconnected with Speedy on some funny on some funny style stuff. You know what I'm
Say it.
saying? I got a call. I know you remember this stuff, Rick. I got a call from one of my brothers, and they were like, "Yo, do you know who some cat named Speedy Legs is? He's talking ish. He's talking shit about that we ain't real Zulu, this and this and this and that, blah blah." And I'm like, Speedy Legs. I'm like, yo, the only Speedy Legs that I remember is old school Speedy Legs, the b-boy, the breaker. And then they're like, yeah, that's him. Oh, he's saying this and this and that. And what it was that, apparently Speedy had met this one dude named Mentor, who was a part of the Miami chapter of Zulu Nation. And Mentor was also a 5%er. He was down with the Nation of Gods and Earth and stuff like that. So whatchamacallit, he
Hold
was
on,
really into the whole. Uh-huh.
Chillski, let me stop you there for a second because you said something right now that I don't even understand. What is that? You said 5%er.
Yes.
What does that mean?
5% Nation is an organization that comes off of the
They
Nation
think
of
they're
Islam.
God.
Don't say it like that, Speedy.
Explain that one to us. I don't.
Well, I'm not a 5%er, so I really don't know too much of their background, but I definitely know that they I believe that they got started by Clarence X, and they're an offshoot of the Nation of Islam. You know what I'm
Nation.
saying? And
Okay.
yeah, and they started out in New York City. They've just like everything, they've spread out throughout the continent, the nation, and Zulu Nation had and has a lot of members that were affiliated with the 5% Nation, and they're really pro black. And some of them view white people as blue-eyed devils and what have you, and that's in a sense when Speedy bumped into this brother was talking that type of stuff. So Speedy, knowing that Zulu Nation is a universal thing, you know what I'm saying, that even though it got started by blacks and Hispanics in New York City, our mentality grew from those early days, and we started including everybody, because the one thing that connected us as men and women was hip hop, you know what I mean? The music and the culture, you know what I'm saying? So we were able to bypass this whole color
Barrier.
stuff and included everybody. So when Speedy bumps into this guy and hears this guy talking, Speedy's like, yo, like, you're not talking some Zulu shit, you know what I'm saying? And he got back to us and what have you, and I let the ones that were asking me the questions know, yeah.
Literally, what I said. If he was talking all that smack, they weren't the real Zulu Nation that I knew.
Right.
That's what it came
Right.
down to.
So anyway, so I told those guys that was asking me about Speedy, I was like, yeah, absolutely, that dude's official. You know what I'm saying? So hence comes our connection with Speedy. Now, Speedy connected with us, and Speedy, after chilling with us for a little while and then going to our meetings and connecting with several of our members, Speedy and my brother Seam, VO5, they came up with a bright idea of doing a jam. You know, pretty much first of its kind in a long time jam. That was just a straight up hip hop jam. Uh, and including all these elements. Now they called this jam Hip Hop Delight, and it happened in 1993. Now, when that jam happened, there was no b-boys left in Miami. The only b-boys in that jam was Speedy Legs. Seam was rocking. Junior was breaking too. Junior from VIP and AIM Crew. Who else? Ease, who's now a famous artist known as Jose Parla. Ease was also breaking. I tried to do a little bit of top rock and a little bit of boogie, but I sucked because I hadn't danced in so many years.
Let me interrupt you there for a second. Could we see this particular jam? Could we see a video of this in YouTube? Can I go see this?
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
there's no video of that in YouTube, but I might have it on videotape somewhere.
Could we hear
Hopefully,
this? I want to hear this song because what you telling me now and telling our community, I don't know if they've heard it, but I've never heard it. So everything you're saying, I'm like, I gotta go to YouTube now. I love investigative report. Like for example, a little while ago, you say something about the bebop, the b-boys from the Nation of Islam involved in over here in breaking. And
No. He wasn't a b-boy from the Nation of Islam.
he was a member.
He was a member, not a b-boy.
Oh, he was a member of the Nation of Islam. That just
of the 5% Nation. 5% Nation.
What happened was he was a 5%er. Now 5%ers, they have a different mentality, and some of the stuff they say is wild. But the thing is, regardless, I respect everybody's religious beliefs and how they express themselves. I'm no one to judge anybody on their personal views in life. That's God's choice. But the thing is that when this guy was saying that stuff, I was like, look, man, I'm from the era where the real Zulu chapter, which was started by Jesse Jess in Miami, and I remember what Zulu Nation stood for. And all that smack you're talking, I don't know what this has become, but that ain't Zulu Nation.
Rick, what did the Zulu Nation dance movement stood for or stands for?
Well, Zulu Nation is Africa Bambaata's organization. They they preserved and did the first early hip hop functions in their part of town. See what I mean? Well, this is a whole different
Zulu Nation is hip hop's original organization.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And Zulu Nation is pretty much responsible for kind of like putting all the elements together.
Right.
Like for example, like graffiti. Graffiti didn't have nothing to do whatsoever with hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Graffiti was just something that the youth in New York City was doing at the time. Some of them were black and Puerto Rican or whatever, Hispanic or whatever, and they happen to be affiliated with the funk aspect of the culture. But there was white dudes that were like heavy metal heads that was also graffiti writers too, that could give three shits about hip hop music or funk music or what have you. You know what I'm saying? There was also a lot of black guys that were into heavy metal that couldn't care about that type of connection. But because of the fact that there were some kids in Zulu Nation that happened to be doing graffiti, bam, kind of like said, "Yo, boom," and hence
Embrace that.
all these elements got put in together. You know what I'm saying? As well as those early tours, the Star Wars tour that went to Japan and to Europe. You know what I mean? With Africa Islam and stuff like that, and you had Futura 2000, and you had Rocksteady Crew, and you had all this host of MCs doing stuff. That's somewhat of like the birth of what we know as hip hop today.
The name of the song that you said a little while ago, so we can all go to YouTube and see if we can hear it. There's no video for it, but there's a song out there, and you said that this song came together over here in South Florida, somewhere in the '90s. What's the name of it?
In the '90s?
Which song are you talking about?
The song that he was saying a little while ago that you guys collaborated in the song.
No. When Speedy gets down with us, with the Miami chapter of Zulu Nation, him and my boy Seam came up with an idea of doing a jam as in a party.
A jam. Okay.
A party. Yeah. So and we called that party Hip Hop Delight in 1993. And when this party happened, I'm sorry, I should have been a little bit more specific.
Yeah, I'm thinking I gotta go hear this song. Where is it? I never heard that song.
No. I'm sorry. When this party happened, there wasn't no new generation B-boys yet. You know what I'm saying? What was left, it was, leftovers from the 80s that, all of a sudden they come to this jam and they caught a flashback. Like my man Ricky from Miami City Breakers. He's another one that was in that jam that he started throwing down too. You know what I'm saying? Soon after that, I think it was a couple of months afterwards, we did a second jam called the Tribute to the True School. And in that jam, Bambada came down, Crazy Legs from Rocksteady Crew came down, and then you had a couple of other guys that came from Tampa and I think from Atlanta. So Messiah's from Atlanta, right, Speedy?
Yeah.
Yeah. And now all of a sudden there was a little bit of more B-boys in this other party, but there was still no new generation B-boys yet. It wasn't until our third jam that we did at the Carver Center in Liberty City. And that's when you started seeing a little bit of the younger generation coming out. And by that time, I don't know, Speedy knows this better than I do, but that's during the time that, Speedy had taken a couple of these kids under his wing, you know what I'm saying, and has started teaching some of them. But it was basically, thanks to the man that you got right there, Speedy Legs, how we got how you said, Bernardo, the good news.
The good news.
The good news came because Speedy has always been a champion for this beautiful dance that we do. You know what I'm saying? I wish that I could take credit. I wish that I could take credit for it. Because I tried my darnest to keep it alive as long as I could, but by mid '86 it seemed almost hopeless. So I had no choice but to start learning all the other hip hop dances that were around the time, because nobody around my neighborhood was doing it. You know what I'm saying? I wish I would have connected with Speedy back then, because we would have been like two freaking, two warriors like trying to start something,
Yeah.
But
man, what are you talking about? We're still warriors trying to start something.
Oh yeah,
man.
I know, but imagine if we would have started together since then.
Listen, tell them about you working on your film, your documentary. So Bernie, right now, what we did was we jumped from the mid '80s into the early '90s, because the era that Willie's talking to you about is the early '90s, like 92, 93, around there. That's the era that he's talking about. Okay. But I mean, man, there's just so much to cover, man, that we can't cover it all. I mean, we've been on for like an hour already, man.
Yeah. So let's end it. Let's end this episode right around here, so we can, let's do more. There's so much to talk about when it comes to this. But I'm just curious. So all this stuff went down. Say, for example, in the area of Wynwood already, or where did you guys congregated? Where did you
Yeah.
guys
Well, our first Zulu
tonight?
meetings, the first Zulu meetings that we had around that time that we connected with Speedy was in Liberty City.
Liberty City.
Uh, but then we moved to Roberto
Yeah,
Clemente Park in Wynwood.
we were at the African Cultural Center on
That
22nd Ave
Yep.
and Northwest 22nd Ave and 62nd Street, a
Yep.
couple blocks
The
away
Caleb
from the
Center.
Pork and Bean projects.
The Caleb Center. Caleb Center. Yep. Yep.
So you guys, so the rebirth of Breaking, and then you guys were like, yo, and then the great more good news. Like now it's global. Okay, so let's just leave it there because I just want to talk about the present and the future. Like any plans for the future? Like Rick, when are you going somewhere? When is your next? Well, right now we can't go anywhere, but I'm pretty sure you get calls from different places on
Man, listen, right now, man, right now is a tough time for me, man, because
So I know you're recuperating. We all know that you're still recuperating. You was in the hospital.
yeah,
Real,
I'm not even. Listen, I'll be honest with you. I'm not. The last thing on my mind right now is anything to do with dancing. As much as I love it, I can't do it now. I don't know how long will I be in the situation that I'm in, but only
But
time will tell.
more as mentors. You know what I'm saying? Like more as
Listen, I speak to a lot of the young guys, and I give them advice, and I try to help them in their journey because
let
I've
me
been
ask
there.
you something. Rick, let me ask you something. If I wanted to get like my kids in the South Florida area in some kind of breaking school, like so they can. Is there something like that over here?
Oh yeah, man. Yeah. I got there's the Miami B-Boy Academy guys. There's my boy Zeku. Him and his dad own an MMA gym where they do mixed martial arts and they teach breaking. And Zeku is probably the best B-Boy in Florida right now. He's the top of the line, bro. Bernie,
Chillski, you have any plans?
Bernie, if you see him, he'll remind you of me 30 years ago.
Yeah. Chillski, you have any plans to open up a school? You guys have any plans of in the future opening up a breaking school for the little ones?
Right now, what we're trying to work is on.
He said Chillski.
It's Chillski, right?
Chillski right now, he's
Oh, yeah.
working on his film, man. He got a film he's working.
Well, I got a million things that I'm doing because I'm a graffiti artist or artist.
Willie,
whatever you
tell
wanna
him
call
about
it.
your stuff in the museum.
I'm sorry.
Tell him about your artwork in the museum at the graffiti museum in Wynwood.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got some of my work right now in the Miami Museum of Graffiti in Wynwood. There's an exhibition coming up, I believe, tomorrow, and I submitted some artwork that's gonna be an exhibition right there. It's called the Fabric of America. It's about protest and about all this current event that's going on or what have you. So I did a little bit. I did a little artwork. I don't think that mine is as controversial as probably folks were hoping for, but I don't do angry graffiti.
All right, Chillski,
My thing is all about unity and love and respect. So I did something about that.
Chillski, before we go on this one, because
Yeah.
okay. Could you drop a few names of the graffiti chapter of our hip hop? Like one of the, I know we got 4 elements, and one of them is graffiti. Important names over here in the South Florida area who has contributed to the graffiti art.
Well, I mean, you got crews like VO5, my man Seam, Javeski, my cousin Dash, Drip, Arson. Oh man, so many people. My man Need, my old crew TNSB with Zeke, Tricks, what's his name? Disc, may he rest in peace. Um, you got let me see, TD4, my brother Chaos, and his brother Orko, Rupo, OD, may he rest in peace. DFC, VIP, ABC, ATKM, Can Crew, WFW.
A lot of people.
I don't know if I mentioned my boy Need.
Yeah.
There's so many. There's so
I
many, so
told
many
you,
people.
I told you,
JFK.
Bernie, I told you that Willie would be perfect to interview for the graffiti.
Willie, don't go anywhere, bro. I need your phone number, man. And I'm telling you, let's look for all these people, and let's so to bring him on here and just record
Yeah,
all this conversation, so they'll stay here forever, and pass it on to the next generation. All we can do is just the idea is to talk about this. That way, no important information is going to be left unsaid. And
absolutely.
especially those who are no longer here. The idea
Yes,
is those people who have been great to the hip hop culture in any of the four elements to say their name.
yes,
If no one have said their name, please
abs-
let's say the name.
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So,
Yes. One thing that Speedy was mentioning, I've been working on a documentary for. I'm kind of embarrassed to say it, but I've been working on it for almost like 10 years,
right.
and
It happens.
yeah, it's been a little bit difficult because unfortunately, within our culture, a lot of people have either disappeared completely. Some are either passed away. Some don't want nothing to do with what we're still doing. Some are cracked out. So it's been very difficult for me to get a lot of the interviews that I really wanted to make this documentary happen. But basically, right now, I started moving again with my boy Raw J. Juan Fernandez and Juan Hernandez. I'm sorry. And you know, it's basically a story about the early Miami scene, the early Miami dance scene, and those people that don't get mentioned. You got the pioneers from everywhere be mentioned in every other documentary. Everybody knows about Crazy Legs and Rocksteady Crew. You know what I'm saying? But how about our pioneers here in Miami? You know what I'm saying? And by our pioneers out here in Miami, I want to talk about also even those New York transplants. Like, for example, you had Mr. Flex, you know what I'm saying, who was a big inspiration to many of us, but specifically to Speedy. You know what I'm saying? Guys like him, guys like Cool C, who was a major inspiration to me as far as like in my graffiti game. You know what I'm saying? That you had guys like Elf, you had guys like Cutmaster Skate, you had guys like Juice TC5, who was my big inspiration in up rocking. The man himself, Ozrock. As a matter of fact, hold on a second. Give me 1 second. Hey, Speedy,
Yeah.
look at the camera.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yes. You got that.
May he rest in peace. That's Ozrock right there.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
These are the things that I want to mention in our documentary, and but the more that I started going on the documentary, the more I realized that I also have to trace back some steps and also talk about the disco scene in Miami. You know what I'm saying? It's very important. Our dance scene that we've always had in here, and God willing, we'll finish this documentary soon,
It's gonna happen.
and a lot of eyes are gonna be open because there's gonna be a lot of stuff that people didn't know. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you might know, but a lot of people don't even know that. For example, Two Life Crew ain't even from Miami. Two Life Crew is a group from California. You know what I'm saying? So now that social media has gotten a little bit bigger, and you could Google stuff and stuff like that. Now people are starting to find out certain things. Oh, wow, I didn't know that. But if you would have told this people 10 years ago that Two Live Crew wasn't from Miami, some of these Miami heads would probably come and attack you and shoot you because we want to claim them for us. But the bottom line is that they are originally from California. You know what I'm saying? With Amazing V, one of their original MCs being from New York City. You know what I'm saying? So, there's a lot of stuff that needs to be said, a lot of eyes that needs to be open, a lot of, fellas that need to be recognized. Like, for example, like MC Mighty Rock. You know what I'm saying? Speedy mentioned in the last interview, one of the dopest MCs right here from Miami, a Latino. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying, that dude needs to be acknowledged because he's a true pioneer of MCs from the city. Actually, he's from New York City, but he planted seeds out here. So we need to tell those stories, and that's like my big mission in life. Like, I could really give three damns if anybody knows who I am. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, it ain't about myself, it's about my city. You know what I'm saying? And that people need to know that, yo, no, New York City will all respect due to the Mecca. You know what I'm saying? I will always tilt my hat off to New York City because not only do I have great friends and family from New York City, you know what I'm saying, I owe a lot to that to that city, and even to California too, to the West Coast too, because I wouldn't have become a popper if it wasn't because of the popping that came from LA to over here. And big shout out to my brother Reversal and to my other brother ET Pop, because those dudes to me are the best that ever did it. You know what I mean? And one being from California. But our city needs to be recognized, man. You know what I'm saying? And we've always been in the game, whether it was in the hip hop scene, also in the freestyle scene, and definitely in the disco scene. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of argument about, who started freestyle? It was in New York. It was in Miami. Hey, you know what? Niobe came out in 1984, but so did Expose, and so did Trenier.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And and you
Look,
could argue also.
Look, you know
Shannon
what?
too.
You know what, Bernie? Everything that Willie is telling you is very relevant because it all intertwines with each other. What people call hip hop is rap, but they don't understand that we were living the embodiment of hip hop in the beginning when we were dancing at disco jams, getting down on the floor, doing the moves that we did, admiring some of the artists that were doing some of the nice throw ups and pieces, listening to the best DJs, the best MCs, and the best singers. All of this was happening at the same time.
Yep.
All of it. So why? See, to me, when somebody asks me what hip hop is and what it means, it's an expression of yourself. It's an
It's a way of
expression
life.
of what inspires you and is around you. You see what I mean?
And making something out of nothing.
Exactly. But some people want to use hip hop as a political machine to push their own agenda, and to me, man, it's just nonsense. Because hip hop is about the youth, it's about the young people, it's about their expression. Because me and Willie, we were once young people and free spirited. So that culture embraces that. You understand? It embraces your freedom, what you want to do. Remember in the last conversation that we had, I had told you that hip hop was able to do what other political organizations and church couldn't do, which was bring people together, and nobody questioned what's your religion, what's your color, what's your background. None of that. None of that existed because it was all about like, hey man, hey, I admire that. Hey, yeah, you're into that too? Oh yeah, cool. Hey, what are you, man? Oh, I'm Cuban. Oh man, that's cool, man. I love me Cuban food. So you see what I mean? You know, and it was vice versa. So, you know, you shared a little bit about your culture with your other friends' culture, and so on and so on and so on and so on. And that's why you got people from around the world living hip hop, and they live it the way it was intended to be lived. We here use it as something to degrade women, talk about violence, just bullshit. You understand? And then I'm not gonna say Hollywood because it's an industry thing. It's something in the industry. They find a way to make money off of it. So let me sell violence because the kids love that. Let me sell sex because sex sells. So, and these artists that want to be heard, they're hollow, they're empty inside. It's like Willie said, I don't give a damn or care what anybody says. I live it. I live it every day. I live this, the expression of it, the freedom of it, the love, the
Right.
admiration. You know,
Okay.
yeah, the spiritual essence that it brings and does for somebody else. You know, it's amazing. You know,
Okay.
uh,
One last word. Last
yeah.
words before we close. Chill, skit, chill, skit,
Yes,
chill.
sir.
One last word.
Yes, sir. Yes, yes.
One last word for now, because we're gonna pause it here and we're gonna keep on going later on. But for
Okay.
now,
One last word. Nah, just I hope that everybody's doing great, man. We're living on some dangerous and sad times, and I just hope and pray that we start respecting each other a little bit more and loving each other a little bit more and get past whatever differences we might have, whether it's religion or political or what have you, and just understand that we are one, man, and that as long as we respect each other, you know, it's gonna be a beautiful world, you know.
no. Speedy,
Yeah.
say it loud and say it clear, Speedy. Last word.
Say it loud and say it
Say
proud.
it loud and say it clear and say it proud. We're gonna pause it for a moment and we'll come back some other time with more of this particular topic that we all love to hear.
Yo, peace, brother. Thank you so much for having me.
Bernie, thank you.
All right. All right, okay, my bro. Okay, so we'll see you soon, okay? Next episode of this particular subject that we all love to hear about, okay? Take care.
Thank you,
All right,
brother.
take care, brother.
Thank you so much.
God bless you, man.
Peace.
All right.